Hey there, thanks so much for joining me today. This is Lynn with KeepInkingUp.com. I'm an independent demonstrator for Stampin' Up! In San Antonio, Texas. And this is the 5th video in my series about the Stamparatus and why I believe it is a must-have tool for any stamper or paper crafter. I've been using my Stamparatus now for about 6 or 7 months, and I find that I reach for it more and more each and every day because it simply enhances my stamping experience. So I wanted to share my tips with you so you can get the most out of this tool and possibly purchase one if you don't have one already, because I really do think that you need to have one. For today's demonstration, I'm going to be using the Making Christmas Bright stamp set that is in our 2018 holiday catalog. I just love this stamp set because it reminds me of my mom and my grandma. Their holiday decorations had this style of light bulb in them, and so every time I see this stamp set, I think of both of them, and so this just makes me happy. So we are going to use this solid light bulb image, and I like to put my stamp case below my plate to help me with my inking later on. Now, because this is a photopolymer stamp set, I do need to use my black foam mat that comes with the Stamparatus. Should you lose this foam mat or damage it, you don't need to worry. We now offer replacement pieces. You can order the foam mat separately. Now, you cannot find this in the printed current catalogs, the annual catalog or the holiday catalog, but it is available on my online store. So if you have any questions about ordering them, please just let me know. Actually, you know what? I think that I will go ahead and provide links in the description box below for the new accessories that are not in any printed catalog. In addition to the foam mat, you can also get some additional Stamparatus plates and grid paper. The advantage of having additional plates is, besides replacing them if you should lose them, is that it gives you more stamped surfaces. Right now, the Stamparatus comes with 2 plates, which gives you 4 stamped surfaces. But if you are using maybe some layering stamps, or you're creating a card that has more than 4 images, it'll be nice to have additional plates so you can just leave the stamps on the plates and then just keep stamping without interruption. So that's a nice thing to have. And I was really happy to get my hands on the grid paper because it is perfectly sized to fit in the Stamparatus. Before they offered this grid paper, I was cutting my own out of my regular grid paper, and that was just time-consuming and a lot of work that I now no longer have to do because I have this grid paper pad, and I really find that helpful. We're not going to use that pad today, but I do like having it, and maybe I'll show how I use that in future videos. So I have this particular bulb image, and I am going to bring in a piece of Whisper White paper. I like to put my paper in the corner of my Stamparatus. That's just something that I do. You don't have to do it. You can place it anywhere on your Stamparatus, but I like to put it in the corner every time. That way I know that it's just a habit, and that way I know that I need to put the paper in there each and every time to get precise placement. This is a precision placement tool, and so anything that helps me get precise placement, I am going to do. So I have my paper down, and now I need to put my stamp on my paper. Before I do that, I'm going to pull in the coordinating light bulb punch. I want to make sure that I stamp this image in a way that'll make it easy for me to punch later. I'm going to pull in the punch like this, which means I need to align my stamp in this orientation. So I'm going to place that in the top corner there. Now, this light bulb punch does come in a bundle with this stamp set to save 10%, or you can order them individually if you don't want to save 10%. Not sure why you'd want to do that, but I do want to share that with you. So you'll notice that my stamp is stained red. I've gotten a lot of use out of this particular image because I love it so much, but I do want to let you know that just because it is stained red does not mean it is damaged. It is simply stained. It is clean. I do clean my stamps. But I'm going to show you by using a bright yellow color that it is not at all damaged. Now, the photopolymer is sticky, so you'll notice when I picked it up, it kind of moved my paper, so I'm going to put it back into the corner and secure it down with my magnet. Now, these bar magnets do come with the Stamparatus. I wrapped mine with duct tape to help me move it around a little easier, and also to hopefully contain it if it should shatter if it comes in contact with the other magnet. But like I've mentioned in other videos, I tend to use only one magnet at a time. I think they're perfectly strong enough. So now I'm going to ink up my stamp, and I'm going to use our Pineapple Punch, which is one of our 2018-2019 in colors. It is a nice bright yellow. So I'm going to open up the ink pad. I'll ink it up, and having this case below it gives me support while I'm inking it. And then I will stamp it down. And that's, see, there's not a hint of red in there, even though my stamp is stained red, so there's no worry about that. Now I'm going to actually double stamp this yellow because it is a little bit of light color, and I'm going to intensify the color by double stamping it. Now I can clean my stamp, get all of that ink off. I'll close up my yellow ink pad, and next I'm going to bring in my blue. But before I ink up my stamp, I'm going to pick up my plate and move it down one notch. My paper is still in the corner. I'm going to open my Blueberry Bushel, which is another one of our 2018-2019 in colors. I'll ink up the blue and stamp that down. Now that's a pretty intense blue, so I don't think I need to double stamp that one. So I can go ahead and close up that ink pad. Again, I will clean my stamp. It still looks red, but that's okay. I'm going to pick up my plate again, move it down one more notch. This is called hinge step stamping because I am stepping down along the hinge each time. I'm going to use Lovely Lipstick, which is once again another one of our 2018-2019 in colors. This is the color that actually stained my stamp. I'll stamp that down. It's a really bright red. I close up this stamp pad. I'll go ahead and clean my plate and my stamp. Okay, now I'm going to move my plate back up to the top. I wanted to show you the hinge step stamping, but I want to show you another tip now, and that is a way of embossing all of these different colors without different color embossing powder. And all you need is a Versamark pad and clear embossing powder. So my paper's in the same spot, my stamp is in the same spot. So now I can ink up my image with the Versamark and stamp directly on top of the yellow bulb. Pick up my hinge, move it down one notch, ink it up again with the Versamark and stamp directly on top of the blue bulb. Pick up my plate, move it down another notch, ink up my bulb with the Versamark and stamp directly on my red bulb. Now I can pick this up and I can sprinkle on some clear embossing powder on these three images. And they went directly on top of the images below because of the Stamparatus. Stick that the powder aside, and now I'm going to use my heat tool. I'll turn it on. I'm sorry if it's a little bit loud. And I'm going to bring the heat tool below my paper so I don't blow the powder around. And in just a couple of seconds, you'll see that the powder will melt and my bulbs will become shiny. So they will look a little bit more realistic, just like shiny light bulbs. There you can see that shine happening. I think it's so cool. And here comes the blue one. So now I have a shiny blue bulb, and I'll move it on down to the red one. So I have 3 shiny light bulbs, and it looks like I had yellow, blue, and red embossing powder when I didn't. I simply was able to use the Stamparatus to stamp directly on top of those colors with clear embossing powder. And so now these are ready to be used on a project. So I'm gonna go ahead and clean off my stamp before I forget. And I wanted to share with you a card that I made using these kinds of light bulbs. This is kind of a fun Christmas card. I used the Blueberry Bushel for the card base. I just love that blue. And I've got all of my shiny light bulbs. I don't know if you can, is that picking up the shine on there? There you go. Picking up the shine so they look all nice and shiny like light bulbs would be. And I used silver foil paper for the socket part of the light bulbs. And the branch is from the Christmas Pines stamp set that is found in our annual catalog. I used these. I think I used this one. I'm not sure. I think I used this particular branch image. So that is what it looks like. Oh, and I wanted to share one more tip about these light bulbs. Our silver foil paper is a little on the pricey side, so I like to share any kind of paper saving tips that I can. So what I did to save paper for this foil is I cut a 1/2 inch by 12 inch strip of my foil, and then I just went along with my punch. You can see that it just fits in here like that, so I'm not wasting any of the light bulb part of the punch, and I just went along the whole thing. So now I have quite a few of those light bulb sockets ready to go for future light bulbs that I will stamp and emboss using my Stamparatus. So I hope you found this video helpful and see another reason or another couple of reasons why this tool is just a must-have for anybody who wants to enhance their stamping experience. So thanks again so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video. Thanks. Bye-bye.